An older woman relates what it was like to be a prostitute during the Samosa years. This is what she had to say.
La vida de antes que ahora, porque ahora no hay las prostituciones que habían antes.
It was much worse than it is now, because before the women were sort of sold into slavery, into whorehouses. In there the madame had total control over the women, because they were always heavily indebted to the madame. They were giving money for clothes, for drinks, and they were overcharged for it. So they could never repay, and if they ran away, the woman could record to the police and say that that woman had run away and she owed her money. So the police will drag her back into the brothel. And also, one brothel could sell the rights to a woman to another brothel, so women were sold like cattle from one city onto another, from one brothel onto another. And she was explaining how the young, the pretty ones had a higher price, and they were sold many times because that way the owner of the brothel was making money on them.
And now we journey from Leon back to Managua to the courtyard of the Foreign Ministry to interview Leonora A. Hooper. Mrs. Hooper was a Consulate General to the United States before the Consul Generals were asked to leave in March of 1983. While we were there, Mrs. Hooper was made ambassador to Costa Rica. Let us join this interview.
Madam Consul General, you said something a little while ago about the only infection that has been spread to other people in the Central America by the Nicaraguan Revolution is the infection of love. Yet, UN Ambassador Jean Kirkpatrick has termed your government oppressive and dictatorial and has distinguished between authoritarian and totalitarian. She terms your government totalitarian, and she has said that Anastasio Somoza's government and that of his brother and his father were just mildly oppressive. Would you give the American people your response to this evaluation by our ambassador to the United Nations?
Yes, of course. Well, Mrs. Jean Kirkpatrick, I like to think that she believes in what she's saying. I wonder. She's an intelligent woman. She's had lots of opportunity in life. But she has never felt, she has never lived in a country like this, you know. I would like to invite her to come to this country. And I would personally take her around. She can be as safe as you've been. She doesn't have to worry about anything. Mrs. Kirkpatrick can come into the country and visit our country and go and see what we're trying, what we're doing for our people. Well, you know, I'm not surprised that he called Samosa's regime a mild dictator. Mildly oppressive, you see? Because, as I said before, Samosa was enthroned in this country by the United States, and he was supposed to be the best, the #1 Democrat in Latin America. Let me tell you, in Latin America, not only Central America. He was called that more than once, you see?
You mean an advocate of democracy?
An advocate of democracy.
There may be a lot of Democrats that might take offense.
I hope they do. I hope they do. Listen, there are so many crimes that have been committed in the name of democracy because they don't understand what the real meaning of democracy is, what real democracy means. But anyhow, Mrs. Kirkpatrick goes, I don't know, she has some kind of a, I would say, a visceral hate for the Sandanistas. We've never done anything to her. We have never done anything to her. She's never visited the country that I know of. She might have come during the Samosa regime, but she has never come while the Sandanistas have been in power. And she's violent. She's really destructive when she talks about the Sandanistas. I said, it's to me some kind of a visceral hate that she has for us. We haven't done anything to deserve that. She has called our regime totalitarian and genocidal, and I don't know how many things. You can imagine. Well, Mr. Haig was pretty much the same. And we could go on and on mentioning names in the United States, but I don't want to. What I want to make the people in the United States understand that we realize that the people in the United States have not been informed properly. They are very little informed of what's going on in the rest of the world. You know, there is a lot of unemployment in the United States. The quest for life is getting harder and harder in the United States. Prices have gone up tremendously. I lived there for 3.5 years, and I can tell you how much. I mean, I, as a housewife, I mean, I had my own apartment, how everything went up, you know. So people in the United States don't have much time to read. You see, you have been pampered, people, because you have been blessed with a country that has all the blessings. I mean, you produce everything you need. You are a very wealthy country. You are brought from Europe, talent, very intelligent people who have made your industries, you have been blessed. You don't know what poverty means. You don't know what to live in these countries mean. You have come here and you have sampled the kind of life people live in these countries. And I think you are in a very good position to tell the American people what you have seen. What have you seen here? Happy people. People who are willing to die to defend the revolution. Even they go with happiness in their face. I've talked to women whom I know who had said to me, I have a very good friend whose son was killed just before the final stage of the uprising began in May 1979, and she told me, I have 2 more boys. I have my grandchildren. They can all go. I'll go. My husband can go. We would all go. But we are going to defend this revolution to the last. And she is a well-to-do woman. She is not a destitute. She doesn't live in a mud hut. But we have had this kind of life in Nicaragua for so long that we believe it is our duty, the duty of the privileged few, to make it possible for the rest of the people in Nicaragua to get what it has been denied for them for centuries, actually.
Leonora A. Hooper, Ambassador from Nicaragua to Costa Rica.